Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the new episode number 12 of the Fake Racers podcast with me, for the first time on screen, Joe Twins, your half of your hosting team, and him, that side of your screen, Davey Hazard.
Davey Hazard, that's me. I'm here also on camera. I've been doing this in private. But now we're both doing it so we can all see everyone can see, and we can be animated and it can be funny.
Ha 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 ha. Joe Funny-oso. And if you're listening on Spotify, again, go over to our YouTube page, youtube.com/JoTo Network. Find out more. And see our faces. Davey's got a beautiful Parker Kligerman door in the background that we just set up.
Yep, for the purpose of this, it's normally not there, but I needed something NASCAR related in the background. Everything else is soccer related. So, you know.
Last episode of 2020, Davey. Whew, we're almost done.
Yeah. I mean, what a year.
What a year.
Not a, by what we, when we say expectations, the expectations sort of shifted. January was like, oh, it's going to be a good year. We'll try and have a good year.
2020 vision.
March happened, and it was like, this year's going to suck. Nothing's going to happen, and we're the worst people in the world. Everything about that is true, except we actually did get some stuff to happen. We actually got to see some racing this year. And we got to, do some racing-related stuff.
Saw some good racing.
Decent racing. Good Xfinity Series racing. Really enjoyed that.
Chase Elliott won the championship.
But he did?
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen all the merch. It's so hard to find, a Chase Elliott wireless mouse. I don't want to talk.
I saw all those. I was just thinking about all those weird things that they had for Chase Elliott's championship. All the stupid stuff that they had for sale.
They do stuff. They usually do that stuff, but there's 6 or 7 different die casts. There's.
It's so good.
Hey, if you can't call it a conspiracy theory, because NASCAR's not making more money off of it or anything.
Ayo. However, there was one downside.
Oh no.
Well, there were many downsides to the year that this was being the year that it was. We don't get to see the next gen car next year. Which is sad. That might be relevant.
Might be. Might see it at the bottom of your screen, right there.
Host Joe. Why would that be relevant? Host Joe.
Because Davey, tonight we're gonna talk about NASCAR Next Gen. Woohoo! It's gonna be so much fun. I like having the camera because I can be a little more animated. And
I was like, wait, why did you do that? I don't understand.
You can see that I'm crazy.
Am I supposed to match this? I don't.
You can see. I'm like,
am I supposed to be this? I can't be that. I don't know what's happening.
Hey, man. But yeah, Davey, tonight we're going to talk about all the next gen tests dating back to 2019 rather, excuse me. It's been a long year. We're going to go through them test by test, talk about the different information we found out through those tests. All this information was compiled at jski.com. Obviously, it's like everyone knows it's the holy grail of NASCAR related news. You took a lot of the articles from there. So there'll be a link down to their next gen page in the description of the video. And then there's also, I believe I used racingnews.com for a couple transcripts too. Yep. And I'll have about the tires, because there's something I want to talk about the tires, especially, right? Because I think that has been one of my biggest gripes current package. So let's dive right into it, Dave. Are you ready?
I've been ready to have this conversation for months. I've been waiting to talk about this car in depth with all the information that we've gathered. We being everybody. I'm just so excited. I'm excited to talk about this car.
Specifically us at JTN, because we have those insider sources.
Mm-hmm.
Insider information. Looking at you, camera. At you.
That's correct.
All right, so let's start with this. We all knew, obviously, new car was coming. You heard the rumblings for years that new car is coming. That's how, it works, right? You get new stuff as the years go on. Our first test date was in the fall at Richmond. Austin Dillon tested the car. It's the original car that was built by RCR. There were originally 2 cars built, this one being the first on-track test, prototype, whatever you want to call it, and they also built one for wind tunnel testing, which NASCAR has done a lot of, from the sounds of it. Big pieces here that we got. You got the idea that we could be moving to the single lug. So hood vents in the car, which is something I don't think a lot of people talk about. You could kind of increase wheel diameter. Electrification was something that was talked about a lot. And then from the driver, right? Austin Dillon said the car was really fun to drive. So that's something good to hear. Again, the test was at Richmond, so it was a short track, and I think whatever you want to call Richmond, is a short track. Some people that would probably argue with that. We're not going to get into that tonight. Not going to get into that.
That's not good. You don't want to say that.
You
don't want to say that.
But Dillon said it was really fun to drive. So any of those things, Davey, I'll let you take your pick. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of these things throughout this episode, but take your pick out of all those things.
We're going to talk about probably all of them. What's the criteria for picking here? Just pick something.
Whatever you want, Davey. Whatever suits your fancy.
I'm so glad that we're going to a single lug nut like every other racing series in the world. I am so happy that we are no longer in 1982. Oh my god. I cannot overstate how happy I am that we don't have to deal with 5 lugs and we can have pit stops that, look like a pit stop from any other racing series. Oh, pit stops are so cool. They are cool. They'll still be cool. I promise.
No, they won't, Davey. You're gonna take all the fun out of my pit stops. I can't even look at you right now. You're just despicable. Why would you say such a thing?
Joe's dealing with his dog, I think.
I'm not. He was on the bed. He was back there on the bed. I had him all hold up, and then I'm good to go. No, I was looking for my book. I write down times.
Copy.
Insider information here on.
I'll go ahead and vamp while you're doing that. And then also something else that has kind of gone to the wayside as far as discussions about the car go. Electrification, or back then or even now, but like basically the potential, the building the car with the possibility to have electric components eventually or afterwards. I think that's really exciting. I think it's something that's going to get OEMs interested. I think it's a big step for NASCAR to finally admit that, hey, we're in the same year as everyone else. Because it doesn't like doing that. We got carburetors like a decade ago. We got rid of carburetors like a decade ago. It's kind of ridiculous.
So, my big thing, and I'm sure I'll reiterate this a lot tonight, is the whole curb your enthusiasm. Electrification, that's a big deal, right? It's a big deal that this car is going to have the capability down the road. Not going to come with the car. Originally we heard 2023. I assume with everything getting pushed back a year, 2024 could be the first chance. And if anything, it's going to be probably under caution, coasting. You're going to recharge a battery. Something like that. So they'll give you that little extra get up and go. You're not going to be hearing electric cars going around your racetrack.
Nope.
Not, probably not for the next at least 10, 15 years.
I would say a bit longer than that too, but yes, you're right.
Well, I want to be right, so I'm not going to push it. Because we never know, right? We never know. Talk about OEMs. They supposedly have already gotten their builds in to NASCAR. So they should be approved, and then those will probably start releasing, I'm assuming, March, April-ish, that'll be fun. But electrification, I think, it could bring manufacturers and builders in. I worry that, again, we're like, and this is downer. I worry that if we just say, NASCAR, they need to be getting manufacturers in, because, now look, we have electrification in our. Now look, we're a more modern day racing entity. I don't think that's how it works. I think a lot of what it has to do is your sport or your racing series or sport, whatever you want, whatever side of that argument you're on. You have to be viable to the consumer as well. You can't just be viable to the tech company, because these automakers, right? The main goal of something like NASCAR, of F1, is not necessarily to test your stuff. Yeah, it's a great space to do that. But the main goal is to get brand identity out there. Right? I mean, look at F1. Everybody knows Mercedes, Ferrari. Right?
Yep.
I mean, those are brands that have built their identity off of racing. You know, with Red Bull, right? They're Aston Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So that took me a couple seconds to be like, they're Aston Martin. It's an identity thing first. Yeah, they've shown their ability. I don't know where this is going, but they've shown their ability.
I was waiting for the point.
It's coming. It's brewing. It's brewing. The point being, though, if you're not viable to the consumer first, you're not going to be viable just by saying, "Oh, we have these new updated things."
This is fair.
You know, so a lot of what has to come with next gen isn't necessarily, you know, a lot of it people, oh, it's got to race better. No, it doesn't necessarily have to race better. And, you know, NASCAR and these tracks, they can do a lot more at the track. They've shown that in recent years, right? They can do concerts and they can bring people out. You have to allow that activation. I think it's more than just the engineering side of saying, oh, well, you know, let's get them to invest money in racing. Because when's the last time you've seen a factory team in NASCAR?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you're going to see one. Because it's just not viable, especially if you're going to be moving to a spec chassis. So, you know, that's where I'm with it. On that specific point. Want to give your counter to that?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to counter that. That's pretty spot on. It's just not the direction. It's not the process that NASCAR agrees with. You know, I agree with you on that. I do think the car coming with, you know, the capabilities, not necessarily the capabilities, but the car coming with, you know, that type of expansion possible is still a good idea. I do think if the car is a success as far as, you know, fans go, if what you're saying happens, I think electrification after that is definitely a plus, though. Like it's just about timing, right? It's just like making sure that everything works, and then okay, this will work too. Let's do that, and I think that'll. I you know, we both agree. We just put together our points.
Yeah,
differently. Yes. Okay.
You want to move on to the next test?
Well, if you don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Because I only talked about the single lug and electrification. I know hit vents are a big deal. Increased wheel diameter is like technically cool.
We'll talk about that later.
I don't know what to add.
Yeah. So the next test, Joey Logano at Phoenix, everybody's favorite race car driver, Joey Logano. This was the first time we got sound. We got images, we got videos of the car on track.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing. People complained for a whole 24 hours about, you know, they tested out a big spoiler on it, and then they saw the smaller spoiler the next day, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Real quick,
Silly.
I want everyone to realize this right now. I'm looking dead in the camera. Just because the car has a big spoiler doesn't mean the racing is going to be bad. In theory, that big spoiler can be counterbalanced by things underneath the race car, which is where, in my opinion, I'm looking at Davey now. In my opinion, they've gotten it wrong currently. You know, we got rid of ride height rules. We got rid of a lot of stuff that I think, you know, maybe if you kept them. I mean, the underside of these cars, they've made them so machining on parts, and you know, and that's not the fault of these teams, right? Because they're put in this box and they're trying to find the competitive way around it, and that's what they've done. So The big thing was the spoiler. I mean, you can talk about that too. Another big thing Logano talked about was the brakes. Talking about how they stopped a lot better. They're better brakes on this car. They're bigger and they're better. They take more of the keys from like cars. I think a lot of what this car is gonna.
Oh my god, yes.
And he also they talked about the sequential shifter for the first time. So.
Wah, wah.
Is that your Tommy Bordeaux impression?
Yep. It's not H pattern. There's something special about the H pattern.
I think there is.
Yep. There is, but so I mean, isn't there like only like what car has an H pattern anymore?
I think there is something special about an H pattern, Davey.
There is, but what car has an H pattern anymore?
I think there is something special about an H pattern, Davey. I can't name one.
There you go. That's my fucking point. It's just leave it behind. We can move on. We can do other things. We can have cooler things. We can have new toys. It's okay. We don't have to keep shining up the old toy. We did a lot of great work with those transmissions. Like sports car drivers come over and they drive the cup cars. They routinely say that they're the smoothest transmissions ever. I don't care. Get rid of them. If we don't want to have them anymore, there's no point in having them. If there's no relevance, get rid of them. They're only here because of it's just they're still only here because it's all the teams have done. That's it. That's it. That's the rule. Okay, cool. Just do this forever. Like it's just been like an afterthought. Get rid of them. Give me sequential shifting. Give me paddle shifts. Fuck it. If you don't want to have paddle shifts, give me the fucking sequential shift down on the floor like rally cars. I don't care. Just change it. Change it. I hate all these people complaining about my traditions when there's about a million other problems that are more important than that were traditional that are different that I don't see complained about.
Yeah.
Again, this is like rehashed arguments. Everyone's had these arguments. It still fires me up.
I get this, H pattern and history, and I get it.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Go watch Trans Am racing.
And I think doing a sequential shifter, it's bigger for NASCAR because there's been such an emphasis on restarts. Making sure you don't miss a shift like that. With the H pattern, you don't slip it into third or what, easier for the drivers to focus on what they're doing out ahead of them. I think that's a big thing. I think it's going to allow drivers to concentrate more on their restarts. Heck, it might even devalue.
But it has to be hard. I don't want it to be any easier.
Real quick, what is that mentality? Remember when this car came out and everyone said it was just going to be truck racing? Like, I mean, to a degree, sometimes it is, but also... like everyone. Oh, that's the truck series. We got a big spoiler. They're gonna handle more like trucks.
First of all, it's not like the truck series. The truck series have engines that go as fast as they're meant to go. They're not choked down. It's a little different.
Still more engineering.
Well, let's not go too far.
Let's not go too far. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And. It's just, oh man, I want to talk about the spoiler real quick too.
Do it.
NASCAR's most likely going to go back with
strong words.
They're going to have a big spoiler. They're going to do it.
Uh-huh.
They're going to do it, and if they do it, if you don't like it, don't go to the race. I mean, that's a stupid argument to say. Oh, you don't like it, don't watch it. That's not the argument I'm trying to have. That's the truth, right? The best way to hurt a company is to not partake in their product. Like their product, pay attention to. I think, and I don't think, again, and this goes back to the whole big spoiler. It's not all about the damn spoiler on the back of the car. It's not. It's really not. This car it's symmetrical. It's not asymmetrical anymore. You don't have a flat side. It's gonna have all the curves. You're gonna be able to view the curves from both sides. gonna look more like a road car, hopefully. That's a big thing because side force has been talk to drivers and they talk about it, side force is a big issue. I don't know. Stop complaining about the spoiler though. Really stupid argument.
Until we see the car race, until we see what the car is doing, we're not gonna know what makes the car race well or bad, however it goes.
Yeah,
we'll only be able to really see that until we get when we get a pack of cars on the track, which isn't going to be for a little bit. So stop complaining. You don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, you should be getting Goodyear tire tests this year with multiple cars and stuff too.
Good.
But
stick them back on bias ply tires while we're at it. Fuck safety.
Everyone thought, remember that Las Vegas test with the big spoiler, and everyone's like, "Oh man, this is great." They were testing and they were all in a line.
Yeah.
Testing.
Yep.
Like, oh, this is awesome.
And then we went through like 3 stages of the All-Star race. Wow, this is really good. And then the last stage of the All-Star race, Kevin Harvick won by like 3 cents.
Oh, this sucks.
No, people were like I was like, that sucked, but everyone else was like, oh man, the racing was so good. It's a shame the finish wasn't good though. I wonder why. Oh my god, bro, why do you think? Whatever.
People done be stupid. You want to move on?
Yes.
All right. Tying into stupid, and it's not about.
Wait. Hold on. Rewind. I got one question.
Okay.
Do you like the sound of the new car?
Dude,
I know it's not important, but I'm just asking.
I don't mind it. I don't think it's bad. Everyone was freaking out. Oh, it sounds terrible.
Sounds like a lawnmower.
Literally, all you gotta do is put a different exhaust on it. Like,
Shut.
Oh, look,
yeah.
I got my 4R racing merch. Shout out Garrett Rons in Livonia,
Michigan. We'll talk about this later. Don't mention it.
Well, I designed this too, so multifaceted. Anyways, well, you helped with that one. I don't know.
What do you mean? What?
I don't know. I felt attacked, Dave.
No, yeah, the whole sound thing is, number one, it's silly to care about how the car sounds that much, especially when we're not even close to done testing the car. But also, the car sounds fun.
Yeah,
I think it sounds great.
Do you remember the Xfinity August Xfinity race at Daytona? And I think Briscoe's car was running X exhaust, so it sounded like an old Gen 4 car at Daytona.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they ran a different exhaust, and it sounded like an older Gen 4 car.
When was this?
Daytona there, August.
What day was that race ran? Was that ran on like a Friday?
It was the day before the race you went to, yeah, so it was Friday night.
I must have not watched it. Oh, that makes me sad. I didn't hear that. I didn't even know about that.
It was the only car, and you can only tell when he was out in front, but you could tell it was his car, and people, oh, let's bring it. That's what all the cars sound. Well, there you go. If you want the next gen car to sound like that, just that.
Stick that pipe on there.
Legit.
I will say, like, I do care a little bit how the cars sound. I love a good sounding race car. It's not like the deciding factor on if I like the car or not. Also not going to make me judge a car that isn't even done testing.
Yeah.
And if you're saying that the car sounds like a lawnmower, I want to try your lawnmower. Fuck.
I could cut a lot of lawns a lot quicker. Cut your lawnmower. But let's continue on our path through the development of this car. Talking about Eric Jones and the test at Homestead, which was the first test on an intermediate. The big thing he talked about 2 things, and I think you really like both of these things, so we'll talk about both of them. And also, this was the last test with the first prototype car. He commented that there was less side force, saying that he thinks the aero changes will help with the pack racing, which, again, NASCAR, that's what they want to do. So, he also talked about a lot more mechanical grip for this car compared to the current car. Your thoughts?
I like this. I like that. We can't keep relying on aero grip, because the more aero grip, the more dirty air. It's just how it works. It's not even like a spoiler thing. It's not an undercarriage thing. It's not a nose thing. It's straight up It is what it is. If you rely on aero grip, you create a lot of dirty air behind you, and that's bad. We don't want that. And mechanical grip can help overcome that, especially, yeah. I will always push for more mechanical grip. I think that's a more fun way to drive. I think I think personally, and this is totally anecdotal, but it makes for better racing when it's mechanical grip, because you can kind of come back to the car if it comes out from under your aero grip. If you lose the air, you lose the air, and the air's gone, and it doesn't come back until whatever's blocking it clears the way, which is 9 times out of 10 the car in front of you or the car on your outside that's got its door on you. So yeah, big plus for me. I want more mechanical grip. I think I've been yelling about this for like a year and a half. I'm not some wizard. It's just what I want.
You're a wizard, Harry.
If I had my other glasses, didn't break, I would look very popular.
No,
I have them.
I didn't even think about that.
Hold on. Need to take a break from this race car stuff. Who listens to that anyway? I got my glasses here. They're still broken, but I can put them on here. I'll show you guys. This is fine. I can do this?
Yeah.
Fuck you. It's my show too.
It is. You're a wizard, Davey.
I miss these glasses so much. I'm so mad that these are broken. You can already tell they're like going crooked on my face because this one's broken.
It's okay. I can't even hold my head straight, so I need to like take my glasses and go this.
I miss these glasses so much. Damn.
Conscious.
I'm annoyed. You should get glasses like these, Joe.
I don't like those.
Especially what?
This is my favorite pair that I've ever had, honestly.
Really?
I like these. I like this little thicker.
Get you a pair
These
of
are the best. I don't look
good. Next time you go glasses search, I'm telling you right now. Next time you go glasses searching, you better send me a selfie with some glasses that look like this with a thin rim. You gonna look smart as hell. Promise you, guaranteed. These I can't, like, these are fine. I put those on. I was like, oh my god, I looked like that with the other ones. I'm so mad now. Anyway, okay, back to
you
things.
need them to be a little shorter on the bottom. You know what I mean? If they were a little shorter like this.
You're right. You can like smush them up against my face, but like it's kind of weird. So,
going back to race car stuff. Less side force. I kind of mentioned that with the last. Less side force is a big thing. I mean, we've seen, everyone praises these guys at super speedways about being able to side draft. Well, side force is the air on the side of the car. Are getting rid of that, or reducing it. It's gonna make these guys actually have to drive the cars more. These forces, right? You're taught in your physics classes about force balances and diagrams, and well, when we have all these forces, chubby mitts. Oh.
Yeah, tune into the video podcast for this section. Apparently.
But you have all these
Sorry,
forces.
audio listeners, you suck.
Check out the YouTube. Even though we made the Spotify one just for you, well, go to the YouTube, doofus.
Please, actually keep listening on Spotify. Don't go to YouTube yet.
Davey's scared Bristol's gonna plug on the Spotify podcast.
Yeah, I am.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking real hard right now.
I don't like that, Bristol. You gotta stop. I'm gonna have to.
Actually sleeping.
Oh, good for him. He's finally asleep.
He hasn't been sleeping very good.
Mm.
What are we talking about? Side force.
We'll get there eventually.
So, you talk about force balances, you have if something's sitting on the ground, right, it's got the force from its weight, and it's got the force from the ground countering the weight, and that's what holds it steady and doesn't make it fall through. Right now, we have all these cars from the air. We reduce the force on the side, well, there's going to be less force for those drivers to count on when the car, car steps out. If the car, it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to spin out. That's what everyone wants, right? That's what everyone
wants.
Everyone wants more crashes.
We want a smaller limit.
Yeah. You want to make it, everyone always talks about, you talked about it earlier. It's got to be hard to drive.
Hmm.
There you go. Hard to drive, less side force. In terms of more mechanical grip, I like that. That's where, cause I think that's where a lot of development of this car is going to be. Um, because you're now putting engineers in a different box. Now, right
Hmm.
now, their box is a lot to do with aero. Now it's going to be mechanical. There's still going to be aero stuff, but you're shifting the box.
Hmm.
We have this box that's kind of a lot towards aero and a less away from mechanical because we've kind of gotten to the limits of what we can do mechanically.
Yeah, when we got to the cars that were going down the straightaway sideways, that was kind of about the limit, I think.
So we got to that limit, so we shifted the box. Well, now we've kind of gotten to the limit here, so we're going to shift the box again. And I think hopefully this car kind of takes it more towards equilibrium between those two ideas.
Hmm. I agree with that.
So, moving on then. You know, nothing else?
Nah, let's go.
All right, moving on. William Byron, everyone's favorite guy. He wrecked the damn car at his test, and people freaked out. Was the first driver to drive what is being called the P3 car, which is the third prototype. I'm assuming that's what P3 means. Not like your little protein snack that you can get in the market. Those are good, by the way.
Never had one.
You should, Davey. That's a beautiful snack. So he drove the P3 car. A lot of the changes they made had to do with like what the cruise feedback was on like making it easier to make adjustments and whatnot. So it sounded like a lot of it was chassis because and the aero stuff they kind of gotta wait for the OEMs back on what their body styles are gonna be. And then we've gotten closer to the final specs. This one was also built by RCR. Kind of been the leader on all this. I don't know how that kind of like give them a competitive advantage down the line, but they probably need all that they can get. Seems like as of late, but I don't know anything. They could definitely. I don't know where I'm going with this. Why am I slandering RCR? Anyways,
Kind of sucks.
Byron, a couple of big things he talked about. So he said the steering felt better with this car, noting that it was the largest track to date. Notes the new sidewall, which doesn't allow the car to slip as much, so it's a reduced sidewall on that. Says he Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll come back to it.
Okay. He also said he really liked the sequential shifting, which again gets back to that idea of allowing drivers to focus on restarts, which is actually where I got the idea that I stated earlier from. So, sourcing William Byron on
Steal.
this.
Bad.
Steal.
Copyright.
Oh. What are they gonna do? Put me in jail? Yes, they might. And then this was the first test with the final wheels. So they're 18-inch aluminum wheels. You had to do that because you have all that force. One lug's holding all is up. See.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do this. God, we're already devolving into toilet humor with the cameras.
We've had cameras for 30 minutes or so.
Okay. So
my big thing here, the wheels. I think that's a big change that people won't talk about because they're so focused on the single lug. We're going from steel to aluminum. Aluminum usually is lighter.
Not just usually. It's not.
Well, you gotta account for like they're bigger, right? So you're saving weight, Davey. You're saving weight. Is
Gotcha.
What I'm trying to get to.
Gotcha. Yeah.
On each corner.
Uh-huh.
And then they had to do that because of forces from the single lug having to hold it. But what were you going to talk about?
I'm curious as to what he meant by the steering felt better.
Okay, so I'm going to go down in our show sheet real quick. I'm going to find. So you know how he just said it felt better, that it was more responsive. Yeah. I think is what he was trying to get at. So currently, right, they use a steering box.
Yeah.
The new car.
Did that car have the steering box? Or did they have the rack and pinion?
It had the rack and pinion.
Okay, I guess I get it then.
So the rack and pinion's a little more responsive. I did research on this. I wanted to make sure I was right.
Mm-hmm.
My mechanical systems information is best right now. So he said it was smoother, I think, is a lot of what he's saying. You know, it's
Okay.
not as choppy. Um,
That's interesting.
the
Okay.
adjustments you can do too with rack and pinion steering. You can kind of specialize them a little bit more. Whereas like with the
Uh-huh.
steering box, right, you're putting these different windows.
I have to
Um,
do research on that. I don't. I have no idea what the difference is, truthfully.
well, that's okay, dude. Your car probably has rack and pinion steering,
Hmm.
but I could be talking out of my ass too. I don't know. I swore. Oh no. Check out the JTN merch store.
Yeah, don't swear.
Bad boy.
Hmm.
Not you. But also talking about the reduced sidewall. Um yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I was doing some quick. Okay, okay.
We're so good at this, guys.
You can keep going. I don't know why you're waiting
I'm
on
trying to
me.
think of what I'm thinking of.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know. William Byron wrecked the car though.
Yeah. Did we ever see how bad? Or
Well, it
like I don't
stopped. I
remember.
think they stopped testing after he wrecked it. He was on like a 50 lap run or something. He was 25 laps in.
Oh man. I hope he enjoyed his only cup win.
You're still on that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Poor Eric Jones. That's what I always say. Poor Eric
Hmm.
Jones. Oh, they're friends. Jones and Byron.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm done with that part. Sorry, William Byron and Auto Club Speedway. He also said he liked the sequential shifting. I already said that
Oh,
though.
that's right. He like backed it into the wall.
Yeah, he was coming off turn 4 and stepped out
Yep.
on him. He
I
said,
see. I see.
"Yep,
Okay.
what a silly
I just need
goose!
to refresh it. I just need to refresh real quick.
What a silly goose! How do you do that, Davey? How do you wreck a brand new race car?"
I mean, it is probably. I mean, it's at the biggest track that the car tested at.
It was day 2
That
of the
was,
test.
yeah. You never know what changes they were doing or what may have caused something like that, or Auto Club's kind of bumpy. Maybe the car didn't respond over the bumps as expected. You 2 days of testing, you could easily hit a bump that you didn't really discover if you got offline real quick. Anything could happen. So.
Well, we move on. We had big sad NASCAR delays next gen in 2022. In the end, that's obviously the right move. Because you lost a lot of time physically testing the car on track. Goodyear obviously couldn't tire test in the fall like they originally planned. Allows more time for crucial development. You're giving yourself a whole extra year now. You're pretty much right. You were fitting all your tire tests into a half year window. You're fitting all these initial tests into a half year window, which you did throughout this entire year. So now you kind of have a whole year to tire test, which I
Yeah.
think is good.
I think honestly, I'm kind of glad that this was what happened. I think, and you even mentioned that it was already pushing the development cycle. Like I think it should have happened regardless of a pandemic or anything for that matter.
Yeah, and
Truthfully.
there was a lot of, I remember just reading a lot of articles with people high ups in the industry that were like, well, we're really pushing this. We don't think, it's going to be the best rollout. You can't have another 2013. You can't have another 2008. You can't. Not even, that's not necessarily 2008, but 2007.
2008, yeah. 2007 was kind of like I don't know why they didn't just wait. It was weird.
Well, because originally when they got the COT, they were supposed to do I think they did 12 in 07, and they were supposed to do 26, and then they were supposed to do the full year 2009, and then they, were like, we'll just do full year 2008. Shout out to the Dodge Avenger, 2007.
God, I missed 2007.
But go back, expectations, right? So many people have put so much on NASCAR, on these engineers, on the development of this car. They put so much on it. They've said, you got to be the best racing. If we can't afford it to be bad, we can't afford it's going to be bad, folks. Now, there's going to be bad races.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. You're putting teams in a big box, small box rather. You're putting them in a big time crunch on time. You've already reduced wind tunnel testing time for the current gen. You did a parts freeze at the start of the year, and then I think they lifted that parts freeze halfway through the year because they said, "Oh, we're going to use this car again next year." So you've kind of already put teams in this weird box, and now you're saying, "Okay, now we're going to have the craziest year ever, where we've revamped our schedule completely. We're going to all these new tracks." With an old car that we're not even going to use next year. So how much are teams really going to put into this year, prepping for next year, or how much are they not going to prep for next year, putting into this year? A team like Hendrick's probably going to really try to push to get Chase another championship. They're going to push to get a guy like Larson a bunch of wins, Bowman a bunch of wins. I don't know what Byron's situation is because we haven't seen what Rudy Fugle looks like as a Cup Series crew chief. Put teams in a box. They put them in a box. The teams obviously have agreed to be put into said box at the cost of saying we're gonna push it back a year. We're gonna, you have teams coming into the sport that they were like, oh, because we're coming in for the car, it's gonna be financially stable. We'll talk about that, but
yeah, I think, and I was gonna say that I think this has a profound effect on next year. Like the car being pushed back had a profound effect on next season, as far as maybe Justin Marks was going to join up next season regardless, or maybe Justin Marks was going to wait a season, but it just made sense to join now because there's a bunch of teams with a bunch of chassis that aren't going to be relevant in a season, and they know that now, and they know they got to get rid of them.
Exactly.
I think it had a profound effect on already on the next season of racing.
No, and that's exactly it, right? I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Now you can see my hands. They're all up here.
Mm-hmm.
A team like Justin Marks' Trackhouse, their mission is a lot about engineering, STEM education that makes sense for them. A team like 2311 at XI, it's 2311. They're coming in because, hey, we got all this sponsorship, and we were going to come in. Seems like it was something that was rather new. Wasn't necessarily looking at next gen.
Mm-hmm.
We've also lost teams, which is kind of the weird thing. Germain closes its doors, sells its charter, so it's not like you lost a team. Mine sells its charter to Spire. Spire is going to have 2 cars, or there's something. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about it. It's weird. The box. Like you said, now you got chassis and bodies, and you got all this stuff that's not even valid for the next season.
Yeah, probably just going to be shipped away to ARCA teams or something.
But it's not even legal for ARCA teams. That's what I don't like. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that ARCA teams can't use that you can use in Cup Series.
Maybe ARCA takes a step back and says, "Wait a minute, there's going to be a lot of chassis for sale." We're a series that's struggling financially, seemingly struggling financially, struggling with turnouts. Do they make the step to go ahead and say, yeah, go ahead. Maybe not necessarily the bodies, but at least the chassis. I mean, if there is compatibility.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like you phrased it. Thought about it. That's where I'm like.
I mean, what are the teams going to do with all those cars, all those rollers and engines?
Show cars. We're gonna have show cars again, folks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think now, especially now that NASCAR owns ARCA, like this might be a small shift for ARCA real quick.
Yeah,
there's changes all the way down this business, all up and down the sport because of this. I mean, there's so many cars that are just Done.
Gonzo.
Gonzo.
Goodbye. See you later. Never again. Oh, my camera keeps green screen. All right, moving on. First post-pandemic test happened in August with Cole Custer at Dover. It's a lot of this is going to be rehash from other drivers, so we'll kind of the rack and pinion steering. Again, I said a little bit about it. It's going to allow more adjustability. You get drivers, they can get the right feel more so than the current, using the steering box. This Custer test was the first test of the final production driveline, which I think is a big deal because they put a lot of laps on this car. They wanted to put like 500 laps on it, which that's 500 miles or dope. That's a lot, considering it's still in prototyping. A lot of it's still playing out, and Dover has high Gs.
Yeah, I was about to say, a very mechanically demanding racetrack.
Exactly. So I think they put it through its paces at Dover. You can talk about the rotating team. Done a really good job of making sure a driver from all these different teams involved with the testing. You started with RCR, you went to Penske, then you went to Gibbs with Jones, Hendrick, and then now getting to another SHR. Anything you want to talk about, Davey? No?
Nope. Cole Custer drove the car.
Good job, Cole Custer. We didn't learn a lot from this test either. They didn't do a lot of PR, but the next test was the one that everyone freaked out about. This was the Charlotte test. They allowed media day one, which was the testing on the Roval. So there's a lot of stuff you can find online. Different people going to the track. This is where the sound stuff came in, right? People complained about the sound a lot.
Yeah.
They didn't like it going up through the...
Stupid. Bad.
So this was also the first time they put two cars on track. They put the RCR car, which I think Kurt Busch was driving, and then they put Truex in the Action Express car, which was a second car that mysteriously popped up at Daytona after the August race.
We really haven't learned other than the fact that they just built a car.
It was there. Well, the France family owns Action Express, right? So that's where makes sense.
I guess.
That's why Chase is in that car, right? Because France family has a vested interest. Anyways, Truex stated it did a little bit of everything better. So one of the things, and I have a note about this too, an idea, but he said when the car bottoms out, it's not good. I wrote is big bad. My idea here, maybe this discourages keeping the no minimum ride height rule for teams trying to get the car more off the track, right? Car's gonna bottom out because you're gonna push that limit. But if this car is really bad when it bottoms out, you don't push that limit as much. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. But I hate the ride height rule. I like ride height rules. I hate it when it gets enforced after because everyone, gets the car on the track during the race, and then if it doesn't come back up, I think that's if you pass pre-race ride heights, you should be fine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm broke. But I want the cars off the ground, man. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want them on the ground anymore.
Very close, seal them off.
Yeah. It's big bad. That's what makes bad racing. Big spoiler, not good, but on the ground, big bad too. So how about we just get rid of both of them?
True.
Also, did you see on Twitter in the last week, everyone's talking about 2014? Oh, look, 2014 is so good. I just laugh because I've been saying that for years. 2014 was the best we've gotten. Yeah, you can vouch for me. 2014, 2015, those were the best 2 years with Next Gen. Or not Next Gen, Gen 6.
Yeah.
Everyone always, you're wrong. 2014 and 2015 had a spoiler that's halfway between the 2017 and 2019 packages. You had less of an overhang on the splitter, less underside arrow.
Well, weird.
Well,
It's almost like this all culminates to something that isn't just like, haha, blade on back, we're too big. Not like, so stupid.
I know. I hate it. I hate it. Also, you have the whole thing that they only had 2 years with the car, year and a half, or they had less time with the car at that time, so probably the racing was better because time with car mean less knowledge on car.
True.
But Truex, back to the topic at hand. Truex also talked about reduced tire temps they were seeing. This is something that comes from racingnews.co, which is I'll link it in the description of the YouTube video. This should allow Goodyear to bring softer tires. This is a big thing. Goodyear the last couple years, in preparation for higher loads, because the cars are cornering at a higher speed, they brought harder tires because they don't, they don't want another 2008 Brickyard. It's true. That's what it is, right? They're so afraid of, tire explode, Goodyear bad.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times tires explode. Not Goodyear's fault. It's because teams are pushing tire temps. Or when we go to the Brickyard and a tire explodes, that's because of the track. Cheese grater. It's literally a cheese grater.
Yep. Imagine that.
It literally is.
Track not meant for oval cars.
It literally is. Like, there's grooves in it. It's great. It's great. It's great. Softer tire. That's good, right?
Yeah. It's more mechanical grip. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to put an emphasis on making sure your car runs over a longer run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Runs over a longer run. It's good over a longer run.
Well, that's what I mean. It's mechanical grip, and it's going to go away, and you have to bring your car back from that. I like it. I like it.
Then talk about the tone of the car being deeper.
Cool. Sounds great.
Because you also have the tailpipes that are coming out each side of the car, so now you don't have that hot box right underneath the driver, hopefully. Because the exhaust comes out a little forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not routed right underneath the driver. That's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, let's not kill our driver's feet, please. Thank you.
Probably good.
Let's have things that are good for our drivers.
Kurt Busch, this is something I think you'll really like. He talked about how it's a good marriage between the sports car and stock car.
Yes.
Now you have independent rear suspension, allowing for a wider array of adjustments, not just your typical legend track bar. Why don't you talk about that?
Very interesting. I don't know what those adjustments are, so I don't know how much I can actually say.
We'll talk about it in context of a driver. Now you have more tools in your...
Drivers who are able to give good feedback will benefit from this, because I'm going to go ahead and assume that the wider array of adjustments also accounts for, very particular things that you want to fix in a race car, very particular things you want to fix in handling, is what I'm guessing. So drivers who are good at giving feedback, drivers like Kyle Busch, I know he's not in the sport anymore, but his name popped up because he was always really good at giving Ray Evernham feedback. Jeff Gordon was really good at that. Like, that caliber of driver who can describe how the car is will do very good. Drivers who aren't very good at that, a lot of the newer drivers, I know it's stereotypical, but like a lot of the newer are good at that. Blaney, for example, he's terrible. Just says it's fucking loose or it's fucking tight, and he yells a little more. He's terrible at describing it. Maybe he's good at it outside of the car, but like on the radio, it's a travesty. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, though. I don't know any of the adjustments. I'd love to be able to tackle that and read up on it. I take pride in at least moderately knowing how to set up an oval race car. So yeah, that's really intriguing. I just don't know enough to really comment more on it, other than the effect it's going to have on the way drivers communicate with crew chiefs and their engineers.
Well, just in general, like engineers like to have a bigger, wider array of ways to solve a problem. This gives you 2 ways to tackle something instead of just one. That's a good thing, right? I mean, you want to promote as a series, you want to promote driver talent, not necessarily money. This is a good way to do that because, now you're promoting, hey, can you give good feedback?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a skill that you develop and that you can get good at. It's not just saying, here's $100,000, give me race car for one.
And it's a skill that's undervalued, in my opinion, in NASCAR. Formula One, you see drivers who are not necessarily particularly good at driving, not necessarily particularly good at X thing or Y thing or qualifying or what have you, but they're brought in the teams because they know how to develop the car. They know what feedback to give and to who to, expedite the process of making a car quicker. And it's drivers like that that are going to succeed with a car that gives you a bigger toolbox. We talked about toolboxes a lot today.
I like toolbox.
Yeah. They do.
I had to rebuild a porch step yesterday. Freezing cold. I used toolbox. It looks like crap.
I don't build stuff.
No, but you make fast fake race cars, and that's why you're on the Fake Racers podcast.
I do make fast fake race cars. And if I'd had a real race car that drove on an oval, by God, I'd be good at that, giving feedback for that too. Because I have a very fine ass.
Yes, you do. Kurt Busch talked about the car and just being able to feel everything more vividly.
Rack and pinion.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I think
I did my research.
Good job, Davey. I'm proud of you. I think that's
mm-hmm.
That's gonna help drivers too. It's gonna help with that feedback, right? If we can, and maybe bring some of those guys that might not have those skills yet, help them develop it more. But overall, so we'll move on to day 2. But they're using the same cars.
Very cool. Very much like this. I think this is a cool direction to go. I just hope it gets ironed.
Well, here we go. John Probst, who is the Senior Vice President of Development. I had his title somewhere in here. I apologize, Mr. Probst. Hold on, I'll find it. SVP of Innovation and Development for NASCAR. Was the only guy that gave a teleconference on this day that I could find a transcript from. He said the feedback was bad. Both guys didn't like the car. He talked about having previous champions with experience in the last 3 Cup cars, which both Truex and Kurt Busch were. They had Gen 4 experience, COT, Gen 6. Actually, 4. No, 3. I can't
3.
count. I could count 2 days ago when I wrote this. No, whatever. And he said likely 7 to 8 tire tests in the next year for the car. I'm not surprised that they didn't like the car day 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first day that they've had him on track with another car. This is your first test at 1.5 miles, right? Well, no, they tested at Homestead, but Homestead's different.
In fact, that's very interesting that they went to Homestead with this car so early, because Homestead is a very unique track, the way the banking is and everything. We can get into that some other time. Yeah, no, not exactly the same as Charlotte.
I was not surprised though that they didn't give it good.
Yeah, in a weird way, I don't know anything about this car. Never driven it. Don't know how it drives, obviously. But I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, for some reason I was expecting that. Like I just didn't see it being good for the drivers, at least day 1. Like it didn't even surprise me.
Well, I think it goes back to development, right? You gotta give them time to develop this thing. They're gonna figure it out. You're gonna have a lot of smart people, smart humans in the room, big brains working on this stuff, and they'll figure it out. You just gotta give them time. You can't just, I think it's probably a good thing they didn't have the drivers go out and do a teleconference if they had a lot of bad feedback, right? Because that would torpedo the damn thing. Get go. But, surprised.
I'm really intrigued on what, because I see the word converted, and I'm imagining a process for changing the car from road course mode to oval mode. I would love to know what that process is. I can't wait to find out if that's a thing that we keep and if that's a thing that we do.
I think you're still going to have road course cars and oval cars. I mean, but I think you're going to be able to take
depends on who's building the chassis and where they're getting it from.
I think I think you'll see teams. They'll still kind of dedicate certain chassis, just because it'll be easier on the team, right? Even if there is a conversion process, yeah, it's going to make it maybe a little bit easier for smaller teams. Now that they have more limited resources, so hey, maybe we don't have to buy that extra car. We can just put all our money into this one. And use it at Bristol, and then we can use it at Atlanta, and then we can use it at Watkins Glen. That's not a bad thing. But it's not.
Yeah,
I think it's
don't
more of a
that's gonna
testing
happen.
thing. I think it's more of a testing thing. I think is all it is. I don't
Mhm.
because these teams, it's not going to happen. These teams are going to have big money. They're going to, but I think they'll be able to take cars from Atlanta to Charlotte to Homestead, right? They'll be able to keep the cars and maybe have less inventory
Mhm.
than what they do now. But you're still going to have cars that you have for short tracks, and then cars that you have for intermediates, cars you have for super, cars you have for road. You're still going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
That's what I think.
I don't know about that. I mean, I guess it depends, right? If this went badly, maybe that is the case. But if they perfect this, and your one-day conversion makes the car into a all put together, full-purpose, mile-and-a-half car, and you convert it to the car that they had the day before on the Roval, which was also really good. If they can make that, I mean, it would make sense to have that. It would make sense to have less cars, and it would make sense to, like, every once in a while, okay, we're bringing our Atlanta car to Road America. I think it could happen. I think it's more likely than not that happens, especially if we get, we don't really know how chassis distribution or building is going to work. We don't know any of that. I think we're leaning towards you get an allotment of chassis you got to make do, and I don't think I struggle to
I still think they'll
think they're going to
specialize
divvy it
though.
up that much. I don't know.
They will. They'll find a way.
I don't think they'll specialize as like I think maybe between road court, maybe between road court and oval cars. I think it'll just be like, meh. Oh, that car was at Bristol. We got Michigan. Okay. That's my opinion. It's what I'd like to see. So it's my opinion, and it's for me. So
exactly. We like.
Do we even have to talk about this second test?
Chris Buescher
this
tested
last
it.
test, I mean.
Chris Buescher tested at Daytona. Everyone talked about all the wires. Pretty much, it was just data collection.
Data collection. People talked about the wires.
Yeah, people didn't like that all the wires. They're like, why are there so many wires in the car?
Oh my god.
Maybe because there's a bunch of engineers. They have a bunch of ways to collect data.
Oh my god. Dude. People asked about the wire.
People are stupid, man.
Why do you think? Oh.
But maybe it's those microchips.
It's like F1 cars when they show up to the first test of the season. They have those big aero elements. Have you seen those? Like, they have them around the whole car. They're like big grids that just measure the airflow between each of the holes. Like, imagine a NASCAR fan seeing this, like, the cars are ugly. Why do they have nets on the side? It's like, what?
Engineering, man, engineering. Fun thing.
Gosh. Anyway. Oh my god. Okay.
And this was something Chris Buescher, he did like a video on, and he kind of laughed like at the question. Like, guys, they're just collecting data. Don't worry.
It's like, we're not technologically enhancing the car, guys. It's just for the test. Which is weird because teams would have that stuff at test days in the past. I don't understand. Like,
they're stupid. They're stupid.
Like, people put all sorts of stuff on the cars at tests. All sorts of data collectors, things outside the car.
Cameras.
Like,
the
happens.
Wheel Force car.
The Wheel Force car that has shit all over it. Like,
I don't like how it looks. Get off my damn racetrack.
Oh my god! And then that one time, remember when Alex Bowman wrecked the Wheel Force car, and everyone was like, "Alex Bowman, he's gonna have to pay for that. It's a big deal." And it's like they like he like bent the bumper, and they were back on track in like an hour. It's like, that's gonna be a few $1 million of damages. Like, I love race fans. They're so great.
Nobody knows what's going on. That's why we talk about it, and that's why we have this podcast called.
Yeah. What the fuck else is that for but to speculate? Just don't be stupid.
Yep.
And if you're stupid, admit it.
Yes.
Don't just sit there and say, but the wires.
I don't like the color of the wire.
I don't like all the wires.
It should match the paint scheme.
God almighty. What are you doing for New Year's, Joe?
I'm probably sitting at home. I'll probably
That's
fall
not
asleep
bad.
before the ball drops.
Gonna get some alcohol?
No.
Do you drink with your parents? Or your
I
mom?
can, but I don't
You just
choose
don't.
to. I don't like. Doesn't appeal to me.
I get it. No, I get it. I don't drink that much either. I say
Dad,
that. If you're under 21, look away. I say that I have this sitting on my desk, but like,
yeah, looks pretty full.
yeah, I mean, I had it over the course of one night. It was, just
It's
having.
pretty full right now.
Yeah, and like,
Drink responsibly.
drink responsibly. Yeah, there's no point in getting all weird and messed up for like no reason and doing something stupid.
Hey. No, that's. What about you, Davey? You're gonna go probably to your parents and.
Actually, no. I might be hanging out with my girlfriend's family. They're having like a get together, and I'm a little bit iffy on going to the get together because it's a big group of people. I might go, but we're not gonna spend too long there. We're gonna meet up with her best friend, and because we've all been hanging out watching the Marvel movies together, and we're gonna binge the rest of them. We're on Black Panther. We just finished Doctor Strange. Gonna binge the rest of them. We're gonna go all the way through, and it's gonna be a New Year's bash. We're gonna drink a little bit, have fun, stay in the house, not do anything stupid. So
That's
yeah,
what I've been doing over my break.
that's what my New Year's is gonna be.
Pop a Marvel movie. I got Disney Plus.
Nice,
Gotta watch The Mandalorian.
nice. I haven't watched that.
That's okay.
I'm really, as far as like pulp culture with shows and movies go, I stopped listening around when I stopped watching Nickelodeon, which was over a decade ago.
Man, what are you gonna do?
You know.
What are you gonna do?
So now my friends are trying to culture me. They were like, "You haven't seen all the Marvel movies?" And
I think that's kind of shocking, though.
I hadn't seen. Not only had I not seen all the Marvel, I hadn't seen a single.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's the fact that you hadn't seen one.
I hadn't seen
Like,
a
if you had
single
seen
one.
a couple of them here or there, I get it. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea, obviously, but.
See, I used to not think superhero movies were a thing, but I have loved every Marvel movie
They've just done a
except for
good
the
job
second
with them.
Thor. Except for the
Nobody
second
likes
Thor
that
movie.
one.
That one was very bad. Didn't
Nobody
like
likes that
that, and the ending basically made the whole movie pointless. It was so stupid. But no, I've enjoyed it. Doctor Strange. That was the last one we watched. It was fantastic.
That's
That
a
was
trip.
good. Oh, dude, that movie is a trip. I loved it. I thought it was great. I really liked the first Spider-Man movie too. That one was really good. And I think we mentioned this before. When Teams Be Together, I think my Captain,
The first
like
one, right?
his origin story. Yeah.
Captain America's my guy.
Yeah, I like Captain America. I like Cap.
Guy.
Cap's my dude so far.
He's my boy.
And I like Tony Stark only because my girlfriend and her friend always tell me that I'm just like Tony Stark, which I don't know if I should take that as a compliment sometimes.
You can.
I think I do. I take it as a compliment because that would be the Tony Stark thing to do. But like the Davey Hazard part of me is like,
billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. There you go.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they're just good movies because I think they're more than superhero movies, character movies, right? They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I think that's why the work is superhero. There's no character development.
You're right.
But let's wrap it up, Davey. Wrap it up.
I think that's where we're going.
I think that's where we're going. Before we wrap it up, you have a beautiful hoodie on.
I do. Do you want to know where to obtain this hoodie that you're seeing on my screen now?
Look, he stood up for you too, folks. Got a Hall of Fame shirt on underneath it. He puts the JTN merch over it.
Sir. Because this is more important.
Exactly.
You don't want to go to the Hall of Fame. You want to go to youtube.com/JTN Joe
Toe Network.
Joe Network. JTN. What? Just search it. I don't know.
Search
go
Joe Toe Network.
Go to the JTN store and buy some Fake Racers Podcast merch because it's the best looking merch on the store, and I'm coming for you, Tommy Bordeaux. Nate, nobody got anything on this. Tommy's World ain't shit. This is where you want to be. I cussed during the ad read, basically. That was not good. That's not great. Go here. Buy this. This hoodie's great. It's so soft. I put it on for the sake of recording because I feel like I should wear merch. You know, same with the door. I feel like I should have something NASCAR related in the background. I feel like I should have some merch on. I'm sweating. It's very warm, very soft, but I put up with it because I like it and because you need to see this and you need to know this is the best hoodie ever. And you need to go and you need to purchase it if you feel so obligated to.
We also have the basic JTN logo merch hoodie. We finally posted those, so you can get those.
Also cool.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's as cool, but I have them. I have JTN shirts, you know.
They're very comfortable. You know,
I make good decisions.
We made sure that we used, you know, out of all the listings. Like right now, buddy, I made this shirt for him as part of Johto Designs, which use code JTN2 to check out for 10% off. Using the plain old classic tee, comfort tees. They're just really soft and really nice, and we give you a great value for them. Kind of set them as we can on that for you. Bunch of great options on there, different race cars and stuff with JTN logo. But the Fake Racers podcast merch is obviously great. You can also get little stickers that are perfect for your laptop or your phone, or your computer, or you can, you know, something Davey and I were talking about. I'm gonna say it here because I mentioned the stickers. Get one and slap it on the grandstand at a racetrack this year.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much. Put it on a grandstand. Put it somewhere where people will see it at a racetrack. I don't care if it's your local dirt track, if it's your local asphalt track, if it's a road course, if it's the bathrooms at VIR. Put them there. Put them everywhere. I want to be able to go to a racetrack and like see one. I'll probably know you if you put it there. But like,
hey,
the point is like if it's there and I didn't do it, it still feels like I'm famous. So that's what matters.
Exactly. But we appreciate if you guys do that. But obviously, as always, the best way to help us here at JTN, hit like on the video, subscribe to the Johto Network if you haven't already. People would say I'm a little full of myself putting my name right out there on the network name, but yeah, here we are.
Who says that?
I don't know. People.
I'll beat their ass.
I don't think anyone says. I think it's all in my head. You know. Most things are all up in my head. I am my own worst enemy. That was so bad. I'm not even gonna cut it.
No, yeah, you got it. You got it.
Leave it. Full send. Full send. We don't do editing here.
Oh man,
but again,
you're a brave boy.
Best say that, but best way to support us though, hit subscribe, like the video, go over to our social medias, our Facebook page, give us a like there if you haven't already. Go follow us on Twitter. If you want to support Davey as well, that is obviously mucho apreciado.
It is.
Where can they do that, Davey?
I got it from here, bud. You can support me on Twitch at D7H5er with an ER at the end. You can support me on Twitter at Davey Hazard, and you can support me on Instagram at D7H5. My Twitter content has been popping lately. If you're not following me on Twitter, I don't know what to tell you. Truthfully, I'm kind of built different. I mean, if you're not following me on Twitter, you're kind of dog water, and I don't want you to be dog water. So come get on Twitter, argue with me, argue with the JTN Twitter account. It deserves it. I'll defend you. I like when people get combative. So come at me if you disagree with anything that I say. I'm sure you do.
What's your Instagram, Davey?
I did. It's a D7H5. I did my Instagram.
Well, they're all linked below if you want to find out more. You can check out my Twitch at Johto2, which that's linked below. I don't think I put my Twitter down there, but we always tag ourselves in the posts on the JTN Twitter. So that's, again, the best way to support JTN. Not to buy merch. We love it when you buy merch. Love it. Absolutely. All the USORL guys, if you guys are listening, thank you so much for getting those scheduled tees.
Oh, dude, it's so cool
that
seeing
has
everyone
been
get them.
Awesome seeing you guys wearing those. And you can also use code hashtag JTN merch on Twitter to be featured in one of our upcoming JTN merch advertisements on our broadcasts. Yeah, it's a great time. You guys have, and I'm glad I got the camera because you can actually see it on my face. I am just so thankful for all the support you guys have given us. Davey, you've been awesome. Tommy and Ricky, they've been great. Just all the leagues that we have, all the guys that support, watch these podcasts, listen to the podcast. Davey, your parents. Hello, Davey's parents. Thank you for listening. So We love all you guys. Y'all have been doing such a great job of supporting us. Everyone out there, keep it up. Share the videos if you like them. Feel free to comment. We love to have conversations with you guys. We'd love to have a mailbag segment at some point if you guys got questions. That's what we do here at JTN. We guys, and we continue to try to give you guys content that you ask for from us.
Yeah, I can't agree with Joe more. Thank you, everyone, for the support this year. From the first few JTN broadcasts where I was struggling to commentate on the races, to now where I do something where I'm a little more comfortable and I get to just talk about racing, which is what I love doing. I appreciate everyone who watches and listens to all this, who watches me race at the USRL on the Brace broadcast, who watches all the broadcasts, all the other things. Everyone who even thinks about buying merch, that's so awesome. Everyone who supported this somehow, I'm very happy to be a part of it with thanks to Joe. And I hope you all have a very safe new year. I hope 2021 is better for all of us. We're gonna try and knock it out of the park next year. And yeah, on behalf of JTN from me, Happy New Year. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.
Go Tigers.